Les cotes ne se trompent jamais, c'est le football qui les contredit. Bienvenue dans ce nouvel épisode du Winamax FC, l'interview. Et quelques mois après l'interview de Will Steele, on est de retour ici au Stade de Reims, c'est presque chez nous, pour l'interview de Marshall Munetsi, le défenseur central, milieu de terrain numéro 10, second attaquant du Stade de Reims qui est en très grande forme cette saison. On est revenu avec lui sur ses débuts en carrière, sur ce qu'il réalise au Stade de Reims, mais également sur son engagement en dehors des terrains avec sa fondation. Un entretien 100% English et je veux voir aucune moquerie dans les commentaires. Merci.
Enchanté.
Marshall, thank you to be with us in this new Winamax FC the interview. We are going to talk about your different footballer seasons and also your civic engagement outside the pitch. First of all, can you tell us what is your first memory with a ball?
Oh, thank you guys for having me here and doing this interview. This is a very tricky question. I have to refresh my memory because it's been a long time. I think I was very young. My father used to play also football party time, so I think the first memory was me going with him to a social game that he was playing. I think that is 2002, 2003. Yeah, but it's been a long time.
He played football, he used to play football.
That's what he tells me, so.
Was it a passion for you from the beginning?
Yes, that's what they tell me, because sometimes, you know, as people, we forget our memories as kids. But my father always tells me that I used to love playing football. I used to always cry, you know, to go with him whenever he's playing games. So I think I really started to fall in love with football at a very young age.
Was it hard to live in Bulawayo, your home country?
I think it's a mistake because I think it's on Wikipedia, they write Bulawayo, but I was born in Harare.
Okay.
Yeah, Bulawayo is another city. I don't know how they made that mistake, but.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. No, it's not true. It's what is on the profile and on the internet, but it's Harare. I think the time that I grew up, you know, our country was still in a very good situation economically, and the nation was doing well, and everything was easy for us. We enjoyed most part of our childhood, you know, playing football, going to school, because at the time the president who was there believed in education, even our parents also. So it was like you have to manage between sport and education. So I think it was also a good balance for me as I was growing up.
You played in football club when you were young?
Yes, I played in an academy. It was called Ali Sundowns Academy when I was young.
Okay, cool. How did your parents follow you when you start to play football? They know that you are really good?
No, my father had a passion for sports. He also said that when he was young, he wanted to play football. But unfortunately for him, his parents didn't see football as a good profession because of the news and the bad publicity that came with it. So he had to change his course in life. He had to be a policeman other than football. And my mother also, she was a nurse, so she didn't really believe that football could change anything in our lives. So I had to force them a bit, you know, to make sure that they understand that I love football and I'm going to follow my dreams. So my father was more supportive in that, but my mother, you know, just like any other mother, wants you to be like a pilot, doctor, lawyer, all the good professions. But I know that both of them are happy now with the way that I've grown in my career and the image also that I've tried to show to them also, that being a sportsman doesn't really have to change your image, but it can only help you to be a difference in the world.
How people live with football in Zimbabwe? Is it a big sport like in France?
Yes, it's a very big sport. Every time, that's why when we go to play for the national team, you know, even if we are 15 million people, everyone is always excited. And I think now going for the World Cup qualifiers, people are very passionate about it. That's why even you saw, I was also part of the guys who were crying and begging FIFA to solve the issues because of the people that were back home. And if you would visit Zimbabwe one day, you would understand why we say football is loved so much.
Okay, cool. Today, we know that you give 100 euros per kilometer covered during the games, which is precise in your contract. Who had this kind of idea? It's a unique idea, no?
This is the best question you can ask, but you know, it's always thanks to the club. You know, they are the ones who came with this idea. I was also shocked, just like anybody else, because they saw how much I was very passionate about helping the kids back home, helping the kids that don't have parents and all those things. So for them, it was also a good thing to show that they also care. They also look into the things that football players are doing. So we also have to thank the club, you know, for giving this very, very big initiative. And I know it will go a long way in helping the less vulnerable kids. It's
a way for you to keep a link with your home country.
Not only a link, but to help the next generation. I think it's some of the things that I saw also growing up, and as a person that is in a different position now, a different position that can be able to help, to raise the voices of those who cannot speak, to talk also for those who cannot talk, and to make sure that education at first goes to everybody, because in Europe it's different. Education is free, but for us, you know, just to know how to read and write, we have to pay for all those things.
Okay, can you talk about more your foundation? What they used to do with the child? You talk about education, but there is maybe some stuff about the sports.
Yes, the main idea was to start with the foundation of education, because I believe if somebody can read and write, wherever you go in the world, you can be able to adapt very easily. Because in football, there is football sport in general, there's injuries, there's everything that can happen, especially at a young age. So when you have education, even if you don't make it in football, you can have something to bounce on, something to hold you as a foundation. So for me, that was the first thing, to start with the foundation, to make sure that every child that does not have any parent should have easy access also to education. You know, we start with a small number and it grows big. And then with those kids that we have, we make sure now that we create an environment for them. If they are good in sports, if they are good in whatever they want to choose in arts, we can be able to assist them, but also knowing that they are also very well educated, because it will give them a good balance with their head whenever they choose to do anything in life.
Why it's so important for you to have this kind of civic engagement? There is also a link maybe with the faith.
Yes, helping is also something that is part of our religion, and I believe that love has to be shown to everybody. I believe that those who are unprotected, those who are unsupported, need to get help from, for example, the government need to get help from the people who are rich, who are in position of power, to help them, you know, to get a good foundation. It's like, if you look at different parts of the world, many people are suffering. So I think it's part of us also, even in sport, to see like these good examples like Sadio Mane, a person that can be able to change his own village. So it's also part of us to leave a good example. And I know that, you know, as football players, we like the glamour, the glitter, you know, but I think this is something that can be stolen and can be taken away. But when you give a good reputation, a good foundation to give to the less vulnerable, you know, to give to the people that are in need, it can go a long way, even for your heritage and your legacy.
I just want to talk a little bit about South of Africa. You're beginning in professional football. You came there in 2015. Was it hard for you to discover a different country?
I think it was much more easier to discover South Africa than France, because firstly there's I think about 4 or 5 million Zimbabweans living there, and it was easy also. The language is not so difficult, but on the aspect of adjusting, it was quite different now, because I was born and raised in Zimbabwe. Now I'm going to a different country. But you know, when you have a goal in mind, when you want to make it, when you want to reach your dreams, because I knew that South Africa was easier for me to move to Europe. So my target was simple: go there, work hard, be disciplined, you know, keep pushing and make sure that you achieve your dreams.
You had a kind of agent, or how did you, the link between Zimbabwe and South of Africa?
I didn't have an agent, but it was through the academy. We used to go and play some tournaments in South Africa for the academies. So that is when most of the teams noticed me, and then they approached the academy for me to be able to go for some trials there. And that's when I went to the trials, and then they signed me in 2015.
Okay, because it's close to Zimbabwe, South
yes,
Africa.
It's very close. We are neighbors.
Can you talk about Orlando Pirates? It's a mythic club, even in France. Like, is it a kind of turn in your start of career? Is it one big moment for you?
Yes, it was a massive moment for me because it's one of the biggest clubs in Africa. And I think I was 19 at that time. To get the opportunity to go to Orlando Pirates, it was like a dream come true. You know, if you go and play for Orlando Pirates, you have like millions of people supporting you. So for me, it was also something that was big that propelled my career to the highest level, to be able to play in the CAF Champions League, to be able to compete for the league title, and to be able to learn. You know, when you have pressure on your head, it gives you a lot of experience. So I think that helped me a lot to play for Orlando Pirates.
You talked before about the difficulties for you to come in France. How did the link now with the Stade de Reims, from Orlando Pirates to Stade de Reims?
I think at the time I was at Orlando Pirates, I think it was I was left with 2 years on my contract. I had a feeling that this was the time to move, and I remember with my national team we had qualified for the AFCON in Egypt in 2019. So now was the moment for me to leave, and I had a couple of offers from Belgium also. So, you know, when Hans came, there was a guy who was working at the club in Orlando Pirates. He's French, so he would always tell me good things about France. You know, it's the best league, you should go there.
It's true.
Yeah.
Really.
You know, so he persuaded me more. His name is Joseph. You know, I think he's back in France now. He was working at the Orlando Pirates. So he gave me also some good advice that it will help me look at all the midfielders that has come from France. So they, Hans and Pirates then made contact, and then I think everything was finalized in an easy way for me.
We are going to talk about Reims, but before, there are many sad stories about, yes, many players, but African players, that they want to leave their country and try to come in Europe. Have you experienced it? Have you heard about it?
Yes, and I think I'm part of FIFPro now. We have been talking about these issues, especially of fake agents. I know of guys whose family sold some houses, you know, sold cars, sold their businesses to make sure that their kids achieve their dream, but then just to fly and then get to Europe, and then at the airport the agent is not there. So these are some sad stories that are still even happening at the moment. I also have a couple of friends when I was in South Africa who came from Nigeria. They became my friends because I had to help them out also along with some other teammates I had. They were promised a lot of things, you know, and then they believe the guys they meet on social media. And the funny part is these guys take a picture when they come to the stadium, you know, and they post on Instagram. Us as players also, we don't do our background check. We don't check if this guy is registered with the FA or with the league or with the association, you know. And then we end up giving this guy money, and the rest becomes a sad history. I'm just trying to raise the awareness that if an agent approaches you, it's better you check with the federation in your country. It's better you check with like the players union, you know, to make sure that this person is registered, this person is legitimate, so that you don't give money to anyone who is not registered anyway. And also, when you become a player, most of the things we learn the hard way, you know, because most people believe that you need to pay an agent, but it's the other way around. You have to understand what is the rules for an agent, how much does he need to get from you, the commission and all those things. So I think it's also the aspect of education that I was talking about, that if you're able to read and understand certain things, it can help you to make better decisions in life.
What Ligue 1 represents for you before you're coming?
For us, it is, in my country, it was the second most watched league because, as you know, we are a former colony of England. So the Premier League is the first that is watched in our country, and then the French League is second because you see how glamorous PSG is when they buy all the big stars. So everybody was always interested to be watching the French League to understand what Neymar is doing, Mbappe and all the other big stars that always come from this league. You know, so for me, it was also a good league to watch because I've always watched all the great midfielders that come from France, like Patrick Vieira. So it was also interesting to come here and learn and to see what is happening in France.
And did you know before Stade de Reims?
Yes, I did. When I watched the game, I knew that it was a club that is very ambitious, who likes a lot of African players, because I remember Baba Rahman was playing here, so I used to also check how African players are doing in France. So I used to just check here and then to see how they're doing.
We are going to talk about more tactical things with you,
yeah,
because you are a big player and you played in different positions during your career.
Yeah.
Center back, midfielder, the last year and this year you are kind of second top, or 10, I don't know. What's your favorite one?
Now, you know, as football has evolved, before we used to just know number 2, number 3, right back, left back, but now there's...
I saw your heat map, it's like on the field in all positions.
So for me, I prefer to play, I think I can give an example with the formation we play. You know, we play now with like sort of 1 number 6 and 2 number 8s. So I prefer to play as an 8 or to prefer as a double pivot with the midfield, like we play with Matusiwa. So I would give that example.
Okay, because for the beginning you used to play in centre back, no?
No. It's also a funny story because it happened when I was in Orlando Pirates. It was, I think, a night before the game. The central defender got sick, so it was a Champions League game against Esperance from Tunisia. So the coach came to me and he says like he doesn't have any option. You know, he needs me to step in at the centre back. So when I played, the team won. So you know, every time there was a problem in the centre back, he would ask me to go and play. The same thing happened here also. When I came, there was an issue also with the centre back. I remember even a couple of times when Wout was here, he would be suspended, or when Eunice got injured, they would ask me to step in. So I was always like the backup in case of emergency.
You did your best season the last year in the second top position. Was it a surprise for you to be so good in that role? Like just near to Balogun, sometimes you are kind of 10, but was it a surprise for you to be so good? Because I think you played 34 games in Ligue 1 and you scored 7 goals and assists at 4 times. So it's a big season. Was it a surprise for you?
I think for me it all goes to the collective. You know, the team did a very good season. Even with the coach, it was easy to understand the tactics that we're doing. And for me, it was also a blessing to have a coach who understands the game in that way, who gives you the right motivation, the right training session. So I think in general, even also with Balogun, as you mentioned, he was a fantastic player for us. So it was easy also to connect with him. We understood each other on the pitch and off the pitch, so it made everything easy. And I think that's why the last season was a bigger season for me and also for the other players who was here, because we became a family and we understood each other on what we needed to do. We worked very, very hard. You know, it's always funny that people don't understand how much work we put behind the scenes to make sure that we get the good results. So I think it shows also when you have a good season, and I'm just hoping this season we can be able to emulate the same.
Why, for you, why did you score so much?
It's training, practice and practice, being in the right positions, listening to the coaches, you know, understanding your teammates, knowing that if Ito is going on the side, I have to get in the box because he can put a perfect cross. It's knowing that when it's on the left, if Keito has the ball, Keito is going to dribble and maybe he might give me the ball in this position. So I think it's also the things that we train and also understanding your teammates.
When we met Will Steele the last year, he told us that you were a key player to initiate the pressing on the opponent. Do you feel that you are important in this job, also without the ball?
I think it's also good to hear that he's saying that. I think it's the target that he has put for everybody, that it's easier to recover the ball in the opponent's half and score than to recover the ball in your own half. So we have to put the right energy in our pressing. It has to be coordinated. And for me, he always say that I need to be a good role model, a good example to the other guys, because as you look in our dressing room, I think I'm one of the senior players now. So if I make the effort, it means that the young players have to follow also the same. So I think it starts also with the coach giving us the responsibility on the pitch to make sure that we lead by example and to do the right things. Just
about your way of attacking the box, because you are one of the best players in this kind of job. What are the tactical instructions? Like when you know you can go in the box and you cannot go in the box?
I think as I've said now, like if you know that Ito gets the ball, we train a lot, and I think now it's my second season with him. I know now that Ito can be able to dribble anyone, one-on-one or 1 against 3. This Japanese magician can do everything. So I just have to make sure that me and him, we communicate before the game. If it's this situation, I'll put myself in this position. And also, as I said, like when we used to watch other midfielders like Yaya Toure, Patrick Vieira, you know, all the other great guys, when they get in the box, how do they position themselves? So it's something that we train, something that we communicate. And also, I think it's the feeling that we have, like if I get myself in this position, I can be able to score. And the energy, because you have to run from box to box to make sure that you put yourself in an advantage.
So you run in a different way when it's Ito with the ball,
yes,
and when it's Nakamura, I don't know.
I run in a different way because they have different kind of skill. So I have to understand that if it's Keito, if it's Ito, or if it's Mo Darami, I have to put myself in this position. And after every game, we have to analyze what we did right, what we did wrong, what we can keep on. And this is also some of the things that makes our coach, you know, one of the best for me, because he doesn't leave anything. He makes sure that we understand all the small principles, because a game can be changed by fine margins. So we have to make sure that we understand what made us not to score. Is even if you can see how we have been playing the start of the season, there's a lot of things that we have improved. There's a lot of things that we still need to improve. So I think it's some of the things that we continuously do on the training field to make sure that we can become a better team.
And we talked about Ito and Nakamura, but can you talk about Matusiwa, Tema? Sometimes it's Richardson, sometimes it's Atangana. You try to adapt your position?
For me, the first is Azo. Azo is my brother. He's an amazing player. We've been together now for some time. We understand each other very well. You know, we're always laughing and saying that we need to break the record of how many kilometers we do per game. We need to make sure that nothing passes us in the midfield. So I think me and him, firstly, we've made a strong partnership from the time that he has come to join the team. And also with the club, the way they recruited, when they brought Amir and Teddy, even the young player Val, who has come from the development, we have now a better understanding with different qualities, different attributions that we are compatible. As you saw even in the last game, Amir scored, even Teddy, how he has contributed to the team. So I think it's a big change for the team in the right direction, to make sure that we have quality from the set pieces, quality from open play, you know, and we are able to also make sure that we, even if we lose one player in midfield, there is another one that can be able to do even more than what the other one was doing also.
Is it sometimes hard to play with new players, because you have a good team, but the players change each year? Is it hard for you to try to adapt to them? To understand what they are doing in the pitch?
In the beginning, it's always difficult, so that's why I think it's important. I don't know, sometimes it's difficult for clubs to do the transfers before pre-season finishes, but I think if they do the transfers before the pre-season, when you get time with the players, you get to play friendly matches to understand each other, it gives you a better advantage than when they sign a player when the season is started. Then it makes it more difficult to understand his quality, to understand how you can be able to help each other on the pitch. But sometimes it needs to understand each other on the pitch and off the pitch, to become a family, to become like brothers, so that you can be able to fight for each other.
Because I saw it the last year, but you are kind of family in the team, even if you have many nationalities in the team.
It's always funny, because even I think last season, Balogun and Lopi, one guy speaks English, one guy speaks French, but they were always communicating, I don't know, in Frankish. So it was always funny, but that's one thing that makes the team very, very special, because that's the first thing that comes to mind when you think about Hans. It's family, you know, and that's why it makes it easy for us to fight. Even if we lose, even if we win, we always celebrate together as a family.
You are in Reims since a long time. What's your type of relationship between you and the coach? And maybe trying to help the coach to have a good atmosphere in the team?
Yeah, I think, as I said, like and I'm part of like the senior players now in the team. The coach counts on us to make sure that there is a good relationship and balance between the young players, the senior players, and the management. So we have to keep that balance, and that responsibility goes to me and a couple of the guys who are senior players. So he counts on us to be able to maybe convey the message to the young players or to the staff, to everybody, so that we are always on the same page. So I think we have a good relationship when it comes to communicating and making sure that the team is intact.
Do you have kind of example of player that you like on the midfield? because you talk about Yaya Touré. But do you watch other games in Europe?
For me, I would say there was Seko Fofana. He was, I think, a leader even when you saw him at Lens. Unfortunately, he had to leave to go to Saudi, but I think he's a guy who transformed the team for them, you know, when he has the ball, when he doesn't have the ball, on the field and off the field. So I think he's one of the guys that was like a good example also to me with his way he plays and with these leadership qualities.
I just want to talk more about Balogun and the other striker, Darami this year, Salama, there is also Diakite. How you used to play with them, because with Balogun it was kind of natural, but with the others you have many change in the team. So how do you work with them?
I think it's with Balogun, it just clicked. You know, there are some players that comes into the team and everything just works perfectly. You know, with other players, you need to work on the understanding, work on how you guys can help each other on the pitch. So I think now the club has signed some very good young players, Mo Darami, Omar Diakite, Amin Salama. So you can see now that there is more quality, there is more speed, there is more skill, there is more quality in finishing. So I think now it's just a matter of getting that understanding how we can be able to assist the team first, and also the formation that the coach uses that can be able to make sure that everybody is comfortable.
And we talk about the midfield and the attack, but there is also a big defense with big guys. Yeah. So it's easy for you to attack the box or to be more, to have more liberty to go in the box with the guy on the defense.
For me, it was also nice to have Okomojo come because he's the closest player that I have from home, you know. So
did you know him before?
Yes, because he played in South Africa in Free State. So I knew him before, so it was also nice for me. And also with his experience and his profile, it complements everybody from Agbadu to Yunis. So I think now, as you said, we have a solid team, we have a solid foundation. And also I think defense can win you the championship, you know. So I think this is something that we also thrive in working to make sure that we are solid defensively, and in attack it becomes much more easier.
Have you seen the evolution of Stade de Reims before you coming? It's a different club, because in the beginning it was a club of the middle of table, but now we saw that they can reach maybe a big objective, like maybe Europa League or Champions League.
Yes, from the first time I got here, it was very different. Now, even everybody, the stadium is almost like full. People are excited, even when you walk on the streets. You know, people love the football that we're playing. They're always commenting that you guys are making a good job. You know, so it's also something that shows to the direction, to the president. You know, that they are doing things that are right. They are buying the right players. They're putting the right staff. You know, they're doing everything that is possible to make sure that the team goes to the highest level in France. So now it's also up to us as players to make sure that we pay back to them, to show that we are also pushing in the right direction to make sure that we reach our objectives.
And to finish, I want to ask you if Reims in Champions League next year, is it a dream for you?
For me, it's a dream to play the Champions League, and I think it's the club's dream to reach as high as possible. So I think it's something that we cannot talk about now because the season is very long. There's a lot of highs and lows, but I think our objective is to finish higher than we did last season and to make sure that we finish as high as possible for the supporters, for the management, for even us as players, to make sure that we develop in the right direction. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how the season goes because, as you know, we have the AFCON, the CAN, that is also during the season. We have the Asia Games that are also going to affect us. So I think it's something that we really need to push and try to make sure that we reach our objectives.
Thank you, Marshall.
Thank you very much. Very nice. Cheers.
C'était parfait, merci.
Your English is also good, it's not bad.
Oh, thank you. I will tell it to my teacher.